Welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Real glad that you could join us again. Going to be speaking with Barb Merritt. She's joining us here as a nutrition science lead for pediatric nutrition at Abbott. And she's joining us to talk about how the right nutrition can go a long way to keeping us as healthy as possible, especially now when our immune system strength is at the forefront of everybody's mind. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Barb Merritt. Thanks for taking the time this morning.
Glad to join you.
Give our listeners a bit of your professional background and then talk briefly about your role there at Abbott.
Before joining Abbott, I was a clinical research dietitian for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And then after completing my Ph.D., I joined Abbott in 2002, and I'm presently the global science lead for pediatric and specialty nutrition. So that involves a lot of products, but I have been intimately involved in Pedialyte and some of the innovations around Pedialyte. So I'm delighted today that we can discuss some of the innovations on Pedialyte and a bit of the history of Pedialyte.
Those of us who are parents may have some experience with Pedialyte as far as babies are concerned, but let's talk a little bit about hydration above and beyond what infants need. It's reported that about 4 in 5 adults don't get enough hydration. Why is that a problem for adults?
Yeah, and thank you for bringing up the whole use of Pedialyte and oral rehydration solutions for adults, because 4 in 5 adults, as you say, don't get enough hydration. And as little as 1% dehydration, which is considered like mild dehydration, can have an impact on the body. Mm-hmm. You can have headaches. You can have reduced alertness to more serious, to concentrating. Mm-hmm. And more serious consequences can occur with increased dehydration. And this is, you have decreased blood volume. Therefore, you have decreased physical and mental performance. So dehydration can have a marked impact on an adult, even as little as 1% of the body being dehydrated.
Now, I had a doctor once that no matter what was going on, it was drink more water and exercise. That was the key to everything. What about when it comes to our immune health? Everyone's concerned about our immune health, especially now. How dependent is that upon proper hydration?
So they do go hand in hand. When we look at it, it's really important for people to maintain a healthy immune system. Our immune system keeps us free from infection. In addition, it may help fight the infection or virus if we do get exposed. One of the things that we look at is when we are impacted by illness, one of the first things that occurs is generally you're not eating or drinking enough. Mm-hmm. So, a good well-balanced diet's important for immune health. Key nutrients that help the immune system like vitamin C, E, zinc, and B12. But sometimes you're not getting them when you're ill. So you have two things going on. You're not getting enough hydration, plus you're not eating that well-balanced diet so that you're getting those key nutrients that are needed.
How does Pedialyte help with both proper hydration and immune health as well? You said we were going to talk a little bit about some of the developments with Pedialyte above and beyond what many of us may be familiar with.
Yeah, so thanks for asking that. Pedialyte's an oral electrolyte solution. It's been used by infants, children, and adults for more than 50 years, either to prevent dehydration or to treat mild to moderate dehydration mm-hmm. and for rehydration. And it has this scientifically designed balance of glucose and electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and chloride for rehydration and recovery. So one of the innovations that we're so excited talking about is we thought this would be a great vehicle to add key immune nutrients. Mm. So we added vitamin C, which promotes cellular health, and it's important antioxidant. We added vitamin E, again, another antioxidant with support cell membranes. Zinc, important for synthesis of new immune cells. And B12 to help activate immune cells. In addition, the product has a prebiotic called fructooligosaccharides, or FOS. And what FOS does is it provides fuel for beneficial bacteria in the gut, and then in turn helps support the immune system. Because 70% of our immune system is actually in the GI tract. So that's why we actually created it, because ideally it'd be great if we all ate a healthy, well-balanced diet. But, it's difficult, and it's especially difficult, as you know, during illness. You don't take enough fluid during that time, and you also, don't consume the nutrients you need. So this is a combination by taking an oral electrolyte solution like Pedialyte and just putting in some other nutrients that help provide some insurance to help support the immune system.
Now, it sounds like all of us can benefit from Pedialyte with this immune support. But when should doctors recommend this product to their patients? Is it right for everybody, or should it be used in certain circumstances? So
Pedialyte was designed to relieve these symptoms of dehydration. Initially, due to gastroenteritis, as a result, of having diarrhea and vomiting. And that's because it contains these optimal balance of, sodium, potassium, and sugar. And it's designed all the way from infancy through adulthood. But what would be recommended if it's parents is, because infants can become so easily dehydrated, it would be important that parents work closely with their healthcare professionals when an infant is experiencing, let's say, diarrhea and vomiting, and may be suffering from dehydration. Because for infants, there's a lot of things to keep in mind. Could they continue still to keep breastfeeding? How dehydrated are they? So although it's an over-the-counter product, it is in the pharmacy aisle considered a medical food because it should be used, especially for young children, to be used under supervision of a medical professional who may help the parents on how much should they drink, what are the child's symptoms, etc.
So it sounds like a very good overall preventative measure.
Well, Pedialyte really was not designed as a preventative measure. But I'll have a caveat but everyone should attempt to stay hydrated for good health, regardless of illness. So when you look at it, I was first addressed during illness or, not feeling well, it's more important than to replace lost fluids and electrolytes. But, like every physician talks about, hydration is important always, not only when you're ill, but it is, of utmost importance during illness. But good immunity, good nutrition, and adequate hydration, they're recommended during all times. As I mentioned, it's not a preventative measure. So by consuming Pedialyte, you're not going to prevent the illness that you would get from viruses and GI conditions. But it is of importance of taking hydration, especially during illness, and also to recover after your illness. Hydration is very important during that period of time as well.
Well, Barb, where can our listeners and our healthcare providers who are listening go online and get some more information about Pedialyte with immune support?
Where the medical experts can get information as well as consumers, there's a great website. It's just Pedialyte.com, and there generally will be all the answers to the questions that people may have.
Well, Barb, I thank you for joining us here on Health Professional Radio this morning. Thanks for some great information about Pedialyte.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Barb Marriage. Audio copy of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Listen in, download it, SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.